So let me make a clear point here that's a little tough to hear. Whether you've been vaccinated, whether you've been previously infected, whether you've been previously infected and vaccinated, you have very little protection against BA.5.
Today, the new BA.5 variant has become predominant in most of the Western world. It is now responsible for over 50% of infections in the US, the UK, Europe, Australia, and many other countries. And I think it's time we talk a bit more about COVID numbers. So I wanted to have a quick look at what the data shows. I'm going to show you official data for infections, hospital admissions, ICU numbers, and also death numbers. We should ask the question also, is there any real concern and should we be worried? For example, in Australia, Mark Butler, the health minister, said millions of Aussies could become infected in the coming weeks. The peak is still yet to come. Okay, we've heard that, and many other countries, political leaders like to remind us that, there is a new peak coming. Hospitals are increasingly overwhelmed. Deaths are rising in Australia, apparently. That's from July 18, 2022 in the news. And in the US, a lot of newspapers and media are now talking again about the BA.5 responsible for more than half of the new COVID cases in the US. It is true that this variant is very infectious. This is kind of a normal evolution of variants, really. They become more and more infectious as they find new ways to evade immunity, and especially with COVID, SARS-CoV-2 virus is very good at mutating. Now, the new BA.5 is very good at evading immunity from vaccination, but also from natural infection. And before we get started with the data, I wanted to say thank you for coming and watching these videos. That's really, really, really important for me and for all the creators on YouTube. To know that there is an audience and to know that there are people watching, people who care, people who like what you do, and sometimes maybe they don't like it, and that's fine too. So please do like the video if you do like it. Comment, subscribe, and also let me know what you think. Even if it's just a small comment, let me know what you think about the video. Do you like this kind of videos? Would you like to see more? Or maybe would you like to see a different format? And also, if you don't like this type of videos, let us know as well. I am perfectly happy with so-called negative comments. It's good to know because I can always improve. So let me know what you like and what you don't like about these type of videos, and what kind of videos, what kind of topic you would like to see more often and more discussed about. Moreover, there is some very, very interesting science that just came out recently in the last 2-3 weeks discussing the emergence of the new Omicron variant, BA.4 and BA.5 especially, and what is the main difference with the other variants. So let me know in the comments below if you would like me to discuss this, if you would like to know more about the differences between the different variants and the reasons why they become more infectious. What is the main reason? How do they manage to evade immunity? So let me know in the comments, and if enough people are interested, then I will make a special video on this. So here we see the COVID cases per million people in different countries, US, UK, EU, and Australia. As we can see, the numbers have been increasing everywhere except in the US. The numbers have been increasing in the UK, the EU, and Australia for the past month and a half, quite dramatically, okay? A lot more infections, but the US is very, very stable, as you can see here, a little bit below 5,000 per million in the US for the past 2 to 3 months. However, the other countries, UK, EU, and Australia, have seen a large increase in the numbers. Let's have a look at the number of patients in hospital, because that's also what matters, okay? People can be infected, but it doesn't tell us so much anymore, because we know that the new variants are not as dangerous. They don't cause as severe disease as the first wave of COVID. So let's have a look now. Number of patients in hospital in the US has been increasing quite steadily. It's not a huge increase, but it has been increasing. Australia has been very stable, was very stable for a long time, and it has been increasing in the past months as well. But the numbers are still much lower than in the UK and in the EU. For example, France, which has the highest number of patients in hospital with a bit less than 300 per million, which is, by the way, still less than the numbers we saw in April around the world, and also a lot less than, of course, what we saw here in December, January, February. What about ICU? ICU numbers, as we can see here, have been increasing quite sharply in the US. We went from a low of about 1,500 patients in ICU to a bit more than 4,000 in the US. Germany and France were decreasing quite strongly, and now it's increasing a little bit again. UK has been very stable, but we don't have any data for the UK for the past months and a half, almost 2 months now actually. We don't have any data, so not sure why the data is not reported here. Australia is very, very low, and actually the lowest of all the countries here. Very low numbers in Australia, as you can see, and very stable. Okay, there's no increase whatsoever. 144 in Australia. So very low numbers, much lower than in other countries, as you can see here. France and Germany, roughly about 1,200. The UK is much higher still, over 4,000. However, we should put things into perspective as well, right? Let's remember ourselves what happened a few months ago. Where were we a few months ago? As you can see here, in January 2022, wow, numbers were way higher. Okay, we had these huge peaks, and if you go back even a year ago, we had these huge peaks here. In fact, if we look at the same period last year, July 2021, numbers were roughly the same as what we see today. We had about 4,000 in the US, France 1,000, Germany 500, UK 400, Australia very low, always been very low, 8 only ICU. That was a year ago. Now if we fast forward to today, right, that's what the numbers are. Not so much different compared to a year ago. Let's have a look at the number of deaths now. So as you can see, the number of deaths over the past couple months has been very stable. There's no difference. Australia, the number of deaths is 25 per million, plus minus 1 or 2 over the past 2 months. There's no difference whatsoever. There's no jump. The EU has a bit less than 14 per million. Okay, 14 deaths per million. The US is roughly the same, a bit higher, but we are at 17 per million. And as you can see, this red dotted line here, it's very stable, okay? It fluctuates, of course, fluctuates a little bit around 15, 16, but there's not much increase. The UK was very stable, and then there is a big jump here. Not sure why exactly. It goes from 9 to 20, which is significant. It's certainly much higher, but it's only 1 point, as you can see. So is it going to keep on increasing in the UK or not? We don't know yet. So we have to see, but I want to show you this again. If we go back to the beginning of the year, February, we had these huge peaks everywhere. The numbers were much higher everywhere. 3, 4, 5, 10 times higher in every country. So we have to be careful looking at this data. This data is still pretty low. I have to say that Australia used to be extremely low, and the numbers now have been increasing a lot compared to a year ago. For example, the same date, July 2021, numbers are very low, almost zero in Australia actually, which is quite impressive. Australia has opened its borders to more incoming traffic, and that could be the reason why. Now, if we look at the UK, the EU, and the US, well, the numbers are definitely a bit higher compared to a year ago. What is the reason exactly? That's a very good question. I'm not sure anyone has the correct answer. I wanted to finish this video with this information coming from Reuters.com. And according to this latest information from Reuters, COVID cases are no more severe, or the new BA.5 variant is no more severe than previous variants. Rising cases have caused more hospitalizations in some countries. Death has not gone up dramatically. Compared to a year ago, death has increased a little bit, about 50% in most countries, except Australia, which has increased much more. Huge difference, but that's a special case. This is largely because vaccines continue to protect against severe illness and death. Well, if deaths are increasing, I'm not sure about this, but okay, there is no evidence that BA.5 is more dangerous than any of the other Omicron variants. And that's coming from the WHO. Okay, YouTube fact checkers, this is from the WHO, directly from the WHO, latest information from the WHO. So the WHO says the BA.5 is not more dangerous than any of the other Omicron variants. And then we have this very interesting, and actually I found that quite shocking sentence here. What people fundamentally don't understand is that when there is this high level of community transmission, this will mutate. Who knows what's going to come next? We are playing with fire. Well, yeah, so Poland said that. Who is Poland exactly?
Right now, we don't have any evidence that it leads to a higher death rate, so that's good. Nonetheless, among the unvaccinated with this variant, they're about 5-fold more likely to get infected than people who have been vaccinated and boosted in terms of getting infected or having mild to moderate infection. You have good protection against dying, being hospitalized, or ending up on a ventilator.
So that's kind of interesting because people have been told a lot of things, inaccurate things, and very biased and, in fact, wrong things from the beginning of the pandemic. And now we are telling people they don't understand. Well, I'm not sure there are that many MDs and so-called experts who actually understood anything about this pandemic either. And we made a lot of wrong choices and spread a lot of misinformation all along, including a lot of experts. Now we are saying this is people's fault because they don't understand. Well, yeah, I mean, they haven't been explained. And that's also the reason why I'm trying to explain to you guys, showing you unbiased quality information, unbiased and factual information. So again, thanks a lot for watching this update. I will be posting more and more videos in the coming days and coming weeks. So make sure you come back, make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel so that we can bring you more and more information, and also you can be informed when new videos are coming out, okay? So thanks a lot, and I'll see you in the next video.